As educators, we're always looking to bring extra money into our budget, right? So, of course, you can start a preschool to make that extra money. But what if we were able to show you additional revenue streams that you could add into your family right now as an educator? Join us on this episode. We've got some exciting side hustles to talk to you about. Welcome back to our Preschool All-Stars podcast. I'm your host, Joy Anderson, and with me today is my good friend, Erica Terry. She is the founder of the Educators Empowering Educators community, as well as the host of the Classroom to CEO podcast. Erica, welcome to our podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here today.
So how did this whole journey get started? I mean, you're going to be bringing to us some side hustle ideas, but before we even get there, where did this start? I know that you've been an educator for several years. So how did this all get started for you?
OMG, so several years makes me sound so much younger than I am. I have been an educator for the past 18 years. I started off as a high school biology teacher, kind of worked my way up from there to a counselor, and then went into administration and was sitting in the role of chief academic officer when my husband and I, after struggling for 10 years with infertility, were blessed with our daughter. And when she came into the world, it was just like, OMG, like I do not, I want to be able to give her a life and legacy that she deserves. At that point, I was working for a statewide charter school. I was traveling 2 to 3 days a week, working with work and travel, like 50, 60-hour weeks. And that just really wasn't the life that I wanted for her. And we had waited so long. I just wanted, to be present, to be a mom. And so I walked away from that. I started consulting at the state level. And while I was there, it really dawned on me like, you know what? I can make this work for myself. Like I can start a side hustle. I started researching like how to earn money online. And then discovered how you could create these multiple streams of income. So super excited to be here today to kind of share what I've learned, what I've been doing through Classroom to CEO.
I love that. And nobody should just have one stream of income. I mean, we have to diversify.
Yes.
We have to make sure that foundation is strong. Now, before we get into, again, these side hustles, can we just take you back a moment when you were having that decision? Of course, your daughter was right there and wanting to be present with her, but there had to have been like some major fear going on, leaving a steady income and setting off on your own. Can you bring us back to that moment? Because I think women, if they can relate, like this girl's like me, right?
Yes. And so I was in a 6-figure position. And I walked away from that, taking like a $40,000 pay cut to work for the state, like I said. But of course, at that point, it was like I took the pay cut so that I could have more time, but my lifestyle didn't change. Like my mortgage was still the same. My student loans, I still had them. Like none of that changed. And so when I started initially doing that research, it was mainly so that I could make up, for the money that I had lost in transitioning in those roles. But when I discovered, I was just totally oblivious to this whole online world. And so when I discovered that people were really making money from blogs and affiliate marketing and, all of these different income streams, I was blown away that this world existed. And I was so caught up in being a teacher and going back to school to get new certificates and licenses and that whole cycle that we go through as educators, that I had totally missed that there was this other world out here. And so there was that fear, in transitioning and taking a pay cut. But after that, it was like a grind to insert myself and make my place and make my mark on the world. And so, yeah, super excited.
Totally. And we have so many of our high school teachers, elementary school teachers.
Mhm.
We even have, vice principals and people in administration who are having that exact same experience. Like, okay, the hours, not being home with my family, it's not something I want to do anymore, but that fear of setting out on their own. So We get it. And then, of course, like this whole daunting world of like online marketing, right? And even with our preschool owners, they're still trying to figure out, how do I do websites and online marketing and all this
Right.
stuff. So let's dive in now that we've got some backstory on you. So you
Yeah.
went out to do these things yourself and helping other educators learn how to create side hustles too. What are some of the multiple streams of income that we can bring into our own budgets?
So yes, so let me start off by just backtracking on what you said, because you are right that there are so many like preschool owners, but educators trying to figure out like how to make this work. And I just want to point out that I made a mistake very early along this. I call it edupreneur, along my edupreneur journey, where I spent all of this time researching and trying to figure it out on my own, try to do it all on my own. And so, if you're at that place right now, the best advice that I can give you is to stop doing your own research, stop trying to figure it out on your own, because the best decision that I made for myself and for my business was investing in, those people and those programs that already had taken that time to figure it out. And it allowed me, like, once I started investing in myself and really just paying for people to either teach me how to do it or to do it for me, it allowed me to then be able to spend more time pouring into people, empowering people, and, really taking that step allowed me to grow my business. So if you're like me and you love learning, you want to figure it out, do it on your own, stop. Because I promise you, you will grow. When you invest in people and products. So yes, wanted to just share that because I know that many of your listeners are probably like that. I am like that, and so definitely wanted to share that. But in this online marketing world, there are so many side hustles, and for educators, like there's so much that we take for granted that people are out here like getting paid thousands and millions of dollars to do, right? And so
Yep.
like when you think about number one, online courses, we teach, like we understand instructional design. We plan for units. We can plan out a whole quarter, a whole semester. You know what I'm saying? Like we understand the principles of instructional design. And then also because we are tasked with having to reach every single student that's in front of us, having to teach to multiple, learning styles, having to keep them engaged. Like we understand how to break down complex items and make it understandable to everyone that's sitting in front of us. And these are skills that typically, like when I work with entrepreneurs, like they take it for granted and don't think that there's any big deal about that. But you are special. Like that gift, that training that you have is so valuable. And so one of the most natural ways to make money online is definitely creating and selling online courses. Or if you don't want to invest in, creating an entire course, another quick way is to teach like live master classes. You can do that on Saturdays, teaching people specific skills that, you're rocking it out in the classroom. Like you might, be able to reach that student that no one else is able to reach. And that's a skill that you can teach, like how to engage students online, for example. So taking those problems that you may have struggled with. And then, you figured out that formula, you were able to overcome it. Now you're rocking it out as a leader or in the classroom, whatever role you're in, you are just killing it. That is definitely a skill that you could teach in a live masterclass. So those are like two of my favorite and easiest ways that, educators can take advantage of this online world and really begin to create these multiple streams of income.
Oh my gosh. Yes. And so can I take it one step further in something like that I see as a huge opportunity as well that I think a lot of people don't realize? So way back, like I've been creating my own courses since the past 12 years, right? And I never
Mhm.
really knew like why I had my secret sauce, like why I could take somebody from A to Z, like you said, break it down into simple concepts step by
Mhm.
step. I never really figured it out until I was talking to somebody a couple years ago and they said, "Oh, well, it's because you're a teacher." Like you create curriculum all day long. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's exactly why. And I was like, that's how my
Right.
brain thinks. And so here is a third kind of like evolution of what you're just talking about with course creation. Some people don't feel like perhaps they have the talent or skill to share perhaps in a course, right? Which to that I would say, what do people ask you about all the time? Like
Right.
what do they ask you for advice that comes so naturally to you, but you can help others. But this other thing that I was thinking of, help other people create their courses. They might
Mm-hmm.
have the skill or the talent, but they do not have the curriculum brain. They don't have the A to Z, the step by step like you do. And I'll tell you,
Yes.
that right there is an underserved market. If some people showed up, because I get asked this all the time, because I do this all the time, creating courses, like, but people come to me saying, hey, will you help me with my course? I'm like, I'm booked. Like, sorry. But if other teachers stepped up and said, I have that brain, I can take your genius and I'll
Yes.
lay out the course for you. Like that's gold right there.
Absolutely. Like I love that idea. And that gets into like the coaching that you can do, right? Like you can almost turn that into a coaching program, or a
Yeah.
high ticket program where you're working one-on-one, you're helping them to, I love that idea, lay out their course, helping them to understand, like, even when you think about the scaffolds and supports that we create, like creating worksheets, creating resources,
Yes.
like they don't understand how to do that effectively. And so
Nope.
using those skills that you have, you can definitely help these course creators and,
Right.
right, these course creators, and they are even mentoring and calling themselves educators now.
Yeah.
Like that baffles me. How you teach Instagram and call yourself an educator, but okay, I'm gonna leave it alone. But you can definitely help these self-proclaimed educators with creating resources. Like everything we take for granted is a teachable skill.
Totally. Oh my gosh, like I just want to see teachers step up
Yes.
and recognize their gifts. And I think
Mm-hmm.
like if they think that if I'm not in the classroom or in front of children or students like directly teaching, they forget all the gifts on the back end of how
Yeah.
their brain works. That's gold right there. Like that skill. And so either take it in your own, like you said, take your own skills and talents, turn them into a course or a master class.
Mm-hmm.
I love the master class because it's, to me, it's like comes more like freely and flows a little bit more
Yes.
effortlessly. Or go reach out to the people who know nothing about course creation and just say, hey, I'm your person.
Right, right. I love it. And the masterclass, the reason why I love that is because, like, sometimes because we're so used to creating courses, like when we sit down to create a course for the first time, we have like this big, humongous, like
Yes.
so much stuff in there. But when you do it as master classes, it forces you to break down
Yeah.
like that big idea that you have to break it down to teach it in like 1 or 2 hours. And if you continue that, you will look up one day and you have a full class just from these little mini master classes that you've been teaching. So yes, I love it.
Love that. One thing I would just want to slide in here before we move to the next ideas of perhaps if you have more side hustle ideas,
Yes.
is when we're thinking course creation, because I could speak for days on this is with you as well. But a lot of people, what are all the things? How do they format them? Whatever. Just think A to Z and think of every step in between and stick and write every step on a sticky note. Okay. And
Yes.
then just, organize them. These are the first steps that generally bunch together. And then here's
Right.
the next set of steps. And there's your course modules. There's your course steps. There's your
Mm-hmm.
course. Okay. We're going to move on.
Absolutely. We are going to move on
Yeah.
because we
Let's
could
go.
stay here
Oh,
all
I
day. Because
know.
I'm like, oh yeah, then you can do this. So yes,
Right.
let's keep this
Okay.
party going.
Okay. So what's some other ideas that we could do for a side hustle?
Yes. So, like one of my favorites personally, I love passive income. I love waking up and seeing that email that just says that I earned some money. And, using affiliate marketing, like as educators, we are always recommending stuff. We are recommending the latest book that we've been reading. We're recommending like school supplies or, those things that we're using in our classrooms, we're recommended, like even outfits when we get back to, in the buildings and all of that stuff.
Right.
But I mean, how many times have you been walking through school and someone's like, well, where did you get that outfit
Yeah.
from? Where did you get those shoes from? Like, we are just always recommending stuff. And when you really begin to understand affiliate marketing and understand that everyone, Amazon, Target, Walmart, like all of these places have affiliate programs where you can get paid for these recommendations that you are already doing naturally, because we love to share and we love to empower others. So if like we're reading a great book, we're going to be like, hey, have you checked out such and such? And you just make sure you link that to your Amazon affiliate link so that when they buy the book and take you up on it, or they, see the way you've decorated your classroom, you're linking all of those things with an affiliate link so that when other people are, copying your style or getting some of those same tools and supplies that you're using, like you can be getting a referral fee. You can be making some money off of that. And so, absolutely, affiliate marketing is one of my favorite ones because you can do it like it doesn't require a website. You could do it on your social media. Like you're already on Instagram posting pictures
Yep.
of your classroom. And so, why not include that Amazon affiliate link with that post so that you could take them directly to the page on Amazon? They buy it, and bam, you just made some money.
What I love most too is that people love the convenience, right? So the fact that they don't have to go search for that really cute
Yes.
rug or the really cute chairs or that
Yes.
wall decor that you just put up, like the convenience factor of you being like, hey, here's my top 5 favorite things in this classroom,
Right.
posting the links. The convenience factor. I mean, I can't tell you how many times people have said, where do you find your pennants? Right. I'm like,
Yes.
oh, they're on Amazon, but then they got to go search for them. Right.
Right.
So convenience, like people appreciate it. And it's not like you're selling to them, you're just helping them save time.
Yes. And when we talk about like saving time, helping people save time, when you're thinking about a side hustle, like the best way to get started, one of the best ways to get started is to think of a way that you can save people time. And so I think of like this summer when the Bitmoji classroom craze was going on. I know someone that started creating like templates, creating and selling these templates for the Bitmoji classrooms. And she earned so much money off of these templates. Like she paid off all of her credit card debt
Nice.
just from selling Bitmoji classroom
Bitmojis.
to
What?
templates, right? But when you think about it, like how many people were probably like, I want to do this Bitmoji classroom thing because I'm gonna be virtual, but I don't feel like taking the time to create and add all those different elements myself. I could just pay this 10, 15, 20. I don't know what she was charging, but whatever she was charging, I could just pay this really quickly, choose my template, toss my Bitmoji person on there, and bam, I
Yeah.
have I have my Bitmoji classroom. And so think about like if there's something that you love doing and other people are just like, oh my gosh, like I don't feel, I don't feel like making this bulletin board. Like I know
Right.
someone else that shared how he had a side hustle where he went around his school or the schools in his area doing bulletin boards, and he would get
Nice.
students to help him. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, and just think that's just saving people time. I think he
Yes.
said he was charging like $50 or $75 a bulletin board, and he would just get it up there for you. And so I was like, well, I wish I would have known you because that, get it pre-planning, get it back to school. I would have definitely paid for you to come do my bulletin board. So yes, I mean, it doesn't like we overcomplicate it oftentimes in our mind and think we have to like be solving the world's problems in order to have a successful side hustle. When reality is, if you can save people time, like you can definitely have a successful side hustle that way.
I'm trying to envision somebody saying, hey, you remember all those papers you need to grade after school today? Just, slide them in, $10 a day. I got you.
I got, hey, that's enough. Like, exactly. Like, here go my $50 a week for you to grade my papers. You got it. Like, here you go.
I got my life back for $50 a week. I got it. Okay. So, when you were saying, oh, wait, I'm like literally crying. You're cracking me up. Okay. So the point about not overcomplicating it.
Yeah.
And what you have to do is just like pay attention to the comments coming out of people's mouths because they are going to speak their pain. And so when they are communicating to you how frustrated they are about XYZ, just pay attention to that stuff and say, you know what? There's a solution here. Let me just figure out what the solution is. And if I can provide it, guess what? Likely, if that person's in pain, there's other people just like them, and likely they will pay to get out of that pain, right?
Absolutely. Like when you're in the copy room or, and people are complaining, like just listen, just really listen and pay close attention. Or when you're in those Facebook groups, like, what people are complaining about, if you're like, you know what, that is not an issue for me. Like, I love doing that. Like, that's your side hustle right there. Like teaching people how to do that. And I mean, it is so like that is a strategy that I use all the time. Like there is this Facebook group called #teacher problems.
Nice.
And when I am searching like for, I successfully pitched like an entire book about co-teaching off of one post that I did, like, tell me your biggest struggle with co-teaching. And there was so many responses.
Right.
I outlined like a whole book about it. And so I'm telling you, when people like share their problems, if you have that solution, that is your side hustle right there.
Okay, this is awesome. We could speak for days on this. Is there anything else for real, we could speak on days on this? I think we're two girls from another mother. So is there anything else you'd like to share on side hustles or such before we, give everybody the link to be able to follow you?
Yes. So the one thing I want to make sure that I share is the mindset shift that you have to make in order to successfully be successful in your side hustle. I call it the successful edupreneur mindset shift. Because as educators, and I love us, I love that we have a heart to serve, and no educator came into this field because they wanted to make, a lot of money. That is not why you enter the field of education. And so because of that, because we have a heart to help people, we want to see everyone successful, we tend to enter this online world, entrepreneurship, edupreneurship with that same heart, which is good. But I find that so many people give like everything they have away for free because they want to see people get better and they want to help and they want to serve. And so definitely as you are transitioning and you're starting your side hustle, be very conscious of, and I'm not saying you can't ever do anything for free. That is not what I'm saying at all, because there are times when doing things for free can help you build your business, but you have to be strategic about it. And you really have to like think that you're an edupreneur. Like, I am doing this to make money. This is not a hobby for me. Like, I am not just, showing up and we get so used to grading papers at home, like, coming in early, staying late for meetings, spending our weekends. And we're so used to not getting paid extra for all of the extra things that we do that we enter, our side hustle with that same mindset. And so really having to make that shift that when you show up, like your time is worth it. Like you are worth it. You deserve to get paid. And there are people that will pay you to help them to overcome that problem. So don't get caught up in this cycle of doing everything for free. Don't get caught up in this cycle that the only thing you can do is create, lesson plans that you sell for $1 or $2 or
Right.
$3. Like, no,
But
there is
Erica, if a million
such.
people bought them, I'd be a millionaire.
Yes, or if I have like over 100 in my store,
Yes,
clearly that's gonna make me a millionaire too. And so,
clearly.
but no, all jokes aside though, like there is way more that you can do. And I mean, we're at the tip of the iceberg with what we shared
Yep.
today, but there is like this whole world out here of side hustles that can greatly benefit you and greatly like give you that freedom and flexibility and the life and legacy like you and your family deserve. And it's all about really empowering people to overcome their problems and embracing those unique skills and talents that you have and not taking them for granted because you are special and the things that you do, like what you bring to the table is special. And so thank you so much for having me. Hopefully, we have inspired people to walk into their purpose and to walk into their gifts.
Oh my gosh. Like, I have to, like, I'm not joking. I have to wipe the tears now. The camera's back on me. We got to do this again. This is fun. Okay.
Yes.
So we need to have everybody follow you right now, though, to go jump into your programs and be able to get some side hustle money in their back pocket.
Yes.
So what link can they go follow you at?
Yes. So, I mean, you're listening to a podcast right now. And so definitely check out the Classroom to CEO podcast because I share all types of tips and strategies about how you can start and grow your side hustle. And then I also have a free community on Facebook and Clubhouse, which we didn't even talk about, but I absolutely love Clubhouse. But I have a free community called Educators Empowering Educators. And so if you go to www.educatorsempoweringeducators.com, I will have some freebies for you, 3 ways to start a side hustle for free, as well as the link to get into and, join our free Facebook and Clubhouse community. So I would love to have you. Cannot wait to meet you and definitely help you to achieve the life that you deserve.
That's awesome. So everybody go follow Erica right now. Go listen to the Classroom to CEO podcast as well. Join her over at educatorsempoweringeducators.com. And you can click the link in the description to make sure you get to the right place as well. So Erica.
Yes, and I forgot to say, you can find me on Instagram at Erica Terry CEO, or if you're on Clubhouse, I'm at Erica Terry. So yes,
Love it.
Would love to meet you.
Okay, everybody go follow our girl. And thanks again for being on our podcast.
Thank you for having me. This was a blast.
If you love today's episode, then you are going to love this. I want to give you a free gift in your hands. This is a copy of my book, Start Your Preschool, and I want to get it to you for free. Yes, I said for free. It is a 300-page book. It'll help you learn the step-by-step process to actually starting your local or your online preschool. Every single step that I walked myself through, as well as the thousands of women who've created their own successful preschools have gone through the exact steps listed in this book. Not to mention, I also share 20 amazing women's stories. So you can see how not only did it work for me, but it works for amazing women just like you as well. I want to get you this free copy. Just go to freepreschoolbook.com or click the link in the description and we'll get it to you today. Again, just go to freepreschoolbook.com and we'll get it right to you.